Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger.
And I'm Janelle Slade. Torture, starvation, and extreme mental abuse all captured on video before the death of a 12-year-old boy in West Yellowstone.
Tonight, a grandmother, a step-grandfather, and a 14-year-old uncle stand accused of viciously abusing that boy until his death.
Accusations out of Gallatin County tonight that horror movies are made of. In fact, a warning for you at home of potentially disturbing content.
Today in court, prosecutors repeatedly said a systematic torture led to the death of 12-year-old James Alex Hurley. MTN's CODY Boyer was in the courtroom.
I'm devastated, I'm mortified, I'm disgusted to my core.
Charges of deliberate homicide by accountability. That's what 12-year-old James Hurley's grandparents, Patricia Batts and James Sasser Jr., now face alongside his 14-year-old uncle. Although she wants to remain anonymous, the news rocked one of Batts' close friends.
Before it was confirmed, to me personally, that it was them, that this was my friend that did this, couldn't help but go to what this was like for him and how scared he must have been.
Torture, a word used more than once by Gallatin County Associate Attorney Bjorn Boyer.
I believe the systematic torture and beatings that were perpetrated on the victim in this case that led to his death.
The preliminary report was blunt force trauma to the back of James' head.
Court documents reveal a horrific timeline. Detectives found Hurley to be covered with injuries, having lived with Batts and Sasser for about 2 years. After Hurley's father passed away in 2018, his mother tried to call, with documents showing Batts blocked her from reaching him. Batts' friend says there was a breaking point.
I knew something was wrong, and I encouraged her repeatedly to get him some help and to have him put somewhere. And she just really expressed that she just did not like him.
Investigators found places in the home where large amounts of blood were cleaned with vinegar. Then they found videos. She's
on a lot of the videos that show the torture to this young boy. She's in the videos seen strangling the boy.
I trusted this woman. I've known her since 2008. I'm just reeling. I'm devastated for this little boy.
Batts now is held on a $750,000 bond. Sasser Jr., $500,000, along with Hurley's uncle. Each could face up to life in prison, something my source says is an answer at a steep cost.
Everyone involved needs to go be put somewhere where they can't hurt anybody like this again.
In Gallatin County, CODY Boyer, MTN News.
And CODY tells us the juvenile James Sasser III is being held in Billings and, as stated before, could face adult charges.
In court, the prosecutor says he kicked James Hurley several times in the head. Law enforcement pulled a fast one on a Billings man who they say planned to meet up with a 14-year-old for sex. Last May, agents with Montana's Division of Criminal Investigation posed as a pimp online, offering a teenage girl for prostitution. Monday, 38-year-old Aaron Angel took the bait and was charged with felony count of sexual abuse of children after asking to meet on a remote bridge. When he arrived, a Yellowstone County deputy approached his vehicle and Angel tried to flee. Angel was eventually taken into custody and admitted that he was at that bridge to meet a teen girl for sex.
Well, the intersection of Main Street and Airport Road is among the busiest in Montana. Even more vehicles will travel through that area in the future. Now, right now, the Montana Department of Transportation is revealing some of the new plans, and you can check them out. An open house runs until 6 o'clock tonight and features the different potential plans to help improve traffic flow and safety. Now, those plans include 3 left turn lanes from eastbound Airport onto northbound Main, dedicated turn lanes on southbound Main, and traffic signals at Main and Aronson Road. Engineers say the public has been frustrated with no signal light making the left turn from northbound Main onto westbound Airport.
We'll be adding a green arrow phase to that signal, which will allow trucks to get through there a little more easily. And with the signal at Aronson, we're hoping that some of that Heights traffic will turn left at Aronson and head up Alkali Creek Road.
Again, that's open until 6 o'clock tonight. There's still a chance to comment on the Montana Department of Transportation website. Depending on funding, the tentative schedule is to start construction in 2024.
Well, keeping up with all the snow has been a real challenge in Red Lodge the last couple of weeks.
Up to 5 feet of snow has fallen. Good for skiing, but not so good for cleanup. We showed you this time lapse of the effort last night from the Pollard Hotel on Broadway.
Snow piles in some areas are as high as 8 feet, according to Red Lodge Mayor Bill Larson.
The people of the community have, really been good about moving their cars so that we can get snow moved away. We've actually gotten to the point now where we've pushed the snow onto the sidewalks in the residential areas, and so we can get wide enough streets so we have two ways of traffic.
And the mayor also tells us a great group of volunteers have been going around shoveling for free for anyone who does need help.
Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire joining us now, and that's a lot of snow compared to what we've had here in Billings, Bob.
It is amazing. Let me show you just how much snow they've had just this month, in the month of February. Let me show you. As you can see here, Red Lodge has had 58.5 inches of snow just since February 1st through yesterday, the 12th. Didn't have any snow today, so things are in pretty good shape there. But check this out. Here's what we had in the Billings area, 7.4 inches of snow in the month of February. Go back a month. How about January? We only had 4 inches of snow in January. Go back to the beginning of meteorological winter. That's December 1st. Through there, we had 1.4 inches. So we've had 12.8 inches of snow in Billings for the entire meteorological winter. That's about, Red Lodge has had about 5 times as much snow as we've had in the past 2 weeks is what we've had during the last 3 months. Wow. We'll have your forecast in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, Montanans, especially residents of Butte, have been waiting a long time for this. Details of the Superfund consent decree are now released. MTN's John Amy took a hard look at the report and has the details.
Butte has waited more than 30 years to finally see the plan to clean up more than a century's worth of mine waste.
Here it is. This is the document in all of its splendor.
The bulky consent decree was revealed during a conference at the Finland Hotel in Butte, which outlines the cleanup and remediation work and eventually will end Butte's status as a Superfund site. Butte Chief Executive Dave Palmer called this the beginning of the post-Superfund era.
It's been a very long road for our community, but we are finally at the point where we see light at the end of the tunnel.
The plan was worked out in closed negotiations between representatives from the EPA, Butte and the state, and the Atlantic Richfield Company. Atlantic Richfield pledges more than $100 million in the cleanup of Butte.
The proposed Butte consent decree would provide a final, permanent, protective, and sustainable remedy.
Looking forward to some light reading? Well, here's the consent decree. This is 30 years of negotiations. And this may be an historic day in Butte, but it's not the end of the story. There's still plenty more to go. And community leaders say it's up to the public to get out and digest and learn as much about this document as possible.
Please try to attend one of those listening sessions that are going to be published. Be there and voice your concerns for this community.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Just a little light reading. Now that decree must now be approved by the Butte Council of Commissioners and then finally approved by the courts after a 30-day public comment period. If all moves through, work begins this summer.
For 15 years, Brewer Dental Center here in Billings has been making a difference one smile at a time by hosting Dentistry from the Heart. This year's event takes place this Saturday, February 15th, beginning at 7 a.m. Brewer provides dental services free of charge throughout the day, including cleanings, extractions, or fillings. Over the years, Dentistry from the Heart has been responsible for $1.5 million worth of free cleaning, and the estimates will be that they'll be providing services to more than 400 patients throughout the day. Doctors, clinicians, and other staff all volunteer their time.
This part of the tube is connected to everything else in the body, and we get to see the signs, symptoms, the problems that show up in people's bodies. Sometimes their first sign or symptom is in the mouth or around that area. And so it's exciting to be a part of, helping the overall health of a person, even though our area is pretty small.
Services will be offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Again, that's this Saturday at Brewer's Central Avenue location. They're expected to work until 2 p.m.
Up next on tonight's 5:30 News, a documentary goes in depth. A look at the issue of prosecuting criminals on reservations in Montana and across the nation.
And in sports, we'll have a little fun with some of your state tournament wrestlers before tomorrow's action turns serious.
8. Okay, 8's a good guess. 35 is the correct.
There's a courier. You got to figure there's a courier.
Butte High. As a Butte High guy, I knew you would get that one.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.